Hey there, beautiful people. How you doing? So today I'm sharing from a personal space. For me, today started with a migraine and a few other pains. And so I want to talk to you about willpower versus faith and the collaboration of mind and body. Willpower is a thought and faith is an emotion. And today is a perfect example of times when we need to employ both to get us out of a depressive state and into a better feeling place. There's a lot of talk today on being positive and thinking happy thoughts, and while that's all great and dandy, what we need to know, or maybe remember, some of us, is the how. Because if it were that simple, we'd all be a bunch of jolly folk trotting around the planet, right? So let's get on with it. What we need to acknowledge is the link between our psychology and physiology. In other words, the mind-body connection. If we are to significantly influence our physiology, particularly when we're in a down and out state, we need to employ the intellect to move the body, to shift the emotion. And I particularly want to emphasize this to those of you out there who take care of yourselves without a family, a partner, or any sort of support system standing by you. First, it's important to be kind to ourselves and adopt a good self-love and self-care attitude. We tend to be very judgmental towards ourselves, and we seldom praise or reward ourselves with at least a pat on the back. And that's what I've started to employ some time back, being my own best friend. So I want to ask you today, do you do that? Do you reflect on moments when you were your own wingman and did a great deed for you? And then said, hey, good on you. Great job, buddy. If that's not your practice, let this be the day that you start. And how do you start? You take small, gradual steps moving forward. Like I said, start by being your own best friend. And I'll give you my example from this morning, which I mentioned at the beginning of this talk. Gripped with a migraine, I allowed myself exactly what I initially needed, and that was rest in the dark, closed curtains, until I felt slightly better. And that was my sign to move yet another step forward. It might have taken a good part of the day, but that's what self-care sometimes involves. There's nothing we want more when we're feeling unwell, to be up and about, right? And so from there, a warm shower did that bit. I want to emphasize here another thing. It's very important to learn to recognize being in tune to how we feel. And you'll begin to recognize this when it's time to shift from bed to shower. That's how you'll know, by how you feel. And again, from there, I knew more movement will get me into an even better feeling state. It gets easier and easier through the steps once you get your physiology moving. So I went outside, connected with nature, made sure to be in a place where I could get some air. And so back to my point. From a state of mind-numbing pain, I couldn't exactly think happy thoughts, could I? If that's something that you can do, please let me know. I'd love to conquer that level of consciousness, of being. So what did I do? I did the first best thing I knew I needed. That was rest, solitude. And I didn't go looking for an emotion. I employed willpower the moment I felt a little bit better. I'm in tune with how I feel, and that gets me to the next stage. And getting to the next stage involved, again, moving. So that's my ticket item for you today, movement. Sometimes we're so desperate to feel better or to be happy or happier that we think our willpower alone is going to get us there. If I can just wish it strong enough, surely I can make it happen. But that's not how it works, and we run the risk of driving ourselves into a deeper state of depression, thinking that we've failed, when indeed we haven't. So again, a reminder, moving our body shifts our emotional state. And that's the how. That is how we get to a better feeling place and get our emotions in check. When we're down and out, we move. Even if that means getting up and taking a bath, no such thing as a small task when it comes to being our own best friend. Or going out for a walk. It's terribly easy to spiral into a negative state, to isolate ourselves and feel more and more numb. Even though that is exactly what we might need short term, it's important to acknowledge when that has served its purpose and it's time to move on to the next step of self-care. Now, these steps might seem small and you might even think that they are insignificant, but trust that these small deeds of self-care have a massive impact on our overall mental state. Faith doesn't come to us from the outer world, but it's also foolish to take it for granted that it will be an emotion as strong as ever purely by summoning it from within. So do we need to employ mind and body sometimes to get us to faith? Yes. And are we worth it every time? You bet. That's it for today, beautiful people. See you next time.